Righto, the 2024 AFL trade period is done and dusted. It's wrapped up, and as we do every year, we're here to rank all the trades that took place among this 1 week period. We've got 5 tiers on a classic tier maker here. We've got this is the bottom tier, good depth, into the 22, great pickup, and game changer. And let's start off with the first one on this tier list, which is Jake Stringer. I think before this trade period started, no one was really expecting Jake Stringer to be a story and move club, but he's found his way to the GWS Giants. And, I mean, for a team that lost a big lead in the way that they ended their season in that semi-final against Brisbane, a bit of an X-factor in that forward line that could have maybe gotten them home would have been Jake Stringer. Essendon fans particularly have been very critical of his time at the club, despite having a very good season. And despite popping up with some magical moments, he's very much so a moments player according to Bombers fans. He only pops up when he feels like it. But is that just what the Giants need? They've got a good enough list already. Is he just that experienced head that can pop up with a few big goals, a few bags? Maybe he is that guy. Jake Stringer, he's certainly into the 22. Great pickup, I'm not sure. We'll put him into the 22 for now. Next up, Bailey Smith for the Geelong Cats. They got him for a bag of peanuts. So they traded to the Bulldogs pick 17 and pick 38 for Bailey Smith and pick 45 back. So if you get rid of that pick 38 and pick 45 swap, they've basically gotten Bailey Smith for pick 17. Incredible deal from the Geelong Cats, considering you've got a team like Freo giving Richmond 3 first rounders for Shai Bolton. I mean, that being said, we got a first rounder back, so let's say we gave 2 first rounders for Shai Bolton. Geelong to get Bailey Smith, a player of his quality, for pick 17. Yes, there's a small element of risk. Obviously, he's coming off an ACL injury, so there's always going to be an element of risk, no matter how good the player is. But with a player of his talent, we know how good he is. We know how explosive, how versatile he is. He's got to be a game changer. I know we haven't seen him play footy in a couple of years, but we've got to go off the previous experiences. We know how good Baz Lenker is, and he could tear down the Cattery. Interesting one, Jack Macrae to St Kilda. I think a few people saw this coming. Jack Macrae wanting out of the Bulldogs. For some reason, Bevo loved giving Macrae stints in the VFL, stints outside of the midfield. The bloke barely playing in his actual position throughout the season. It's been like that for a few years now. He wanted out. He's got himself to the Saints, where he will be a part of that engine room, definitely, with a few young faces in there. He's, again, a premiership player, a qualified guy, an experienced guy. I think he's a really important addition to St Kilda in a ever-growing list. I think Macrae is circling into the 22, but I think he's a bit better than that. He's not a game changer, but he is a great pickup for the Saints. Matt Kennedy to the Western Bulldogs. Now, I was a bit confused with this one because at first, Carlton said he should go and explore other options. Then we got told that he'd be staying at the Blues, and then only a few hours later, he was off at the Dogs. Now, the reason he left Carlton was because they couldn't offer him inside mid-time, which is what he wanted. So they said, look elsewhere if you want inside mid-time. He's gone to the Bulldogs with a coach, Luke Beveridge, who is very infamous for putting players out of their position. I'm not sure if he'll get into that inside midfield rotation. He might get into the rotation. I'm not sure how many minutes he'll clock up. He's into the 22, I think. It'd be disrespectful to put him in good depth. I think he's into the 22. He's a good player. He's a heart and soul player. But it makes no sense considering he's leaving the Blues for inside mid-time. I'm not really sure if he's going to get that at the Bulldogs. Tom Barrass for Hawthorn, I think, is a game changer with Bailey Smith. I'm not sure if Tom Barrass goes a bit under the radar in Victoria and the Eastern States, but here in the West, we know the value of Tom Barrass. He held down West Coast sport for so long. He is an incredible leader, an incredible player. Him going back allows a guy like James Sicily, who was a good forward in his time, go forward, or play that dual-wielded tall back role of Barrass and Sicily, with Josh Weddle, obviously that young run-and-gun star, helping out. They've got such an athletic and such a strong backline now, Hawthorn. Tom Barrass is a game changer that could elevate them to premiership status. We've got 4 Roo boys here: Luke Parker, Jacob Constanti, Caleb Daniel, and Jack Darling. Let's start off with Luke Parker. Honestly, I think North Melbourne are pretty weak all over the ground. One area they're not weak in is the midfield. Look, they got Luke Parker for pretty much a bag of peanuts, so I don't think it hurt having him. I don't think he's on a massive salary, and we know the qualities of him. I'm not sure if North Melbourne was the best club to go to, but he's an experienced head. I mean, he's circling to the 22, but I think if he's disrespectful to put him there, we know how good he is. He's a great pickup. He's an experienced head. I'm just not sure if this was the area the Roos should have been going for. Jacob Constanti, know nothing about him. I'm pretty sure he was a top 20 pick with Sydney. They got him for nothing. Look, I don't think there's much wrong with it. I'm going to put him in though, because I know nothing about him. That's not disrespectful to him. I don't know of his talent. Caleb Daniel, for me, is a great pickup. I think with a team that's growing, with a team that's a bit immature, an experienced head behind the ball, particularly Caleb Daniel, who's had premiership success. He's played in familiar surroundings for so long. To push himself out of that comfort zone to try and nurture a really young backline group, I think Caleb Daniel's going to flourish in this environment. And I think Caleb Daniel is making North Melbourne a much better team. In fact, I'm going to put him above Luke Parker. I think that's a really, really good pickup from North Melbourne. And Jack Darling, I guess, is good depth. I think their key forward stocks are quite good for a struggling team. He'll get in the team, definitely. I mean, he's into the 22, but he's more good depth. James Peatling. I saw a lot of people when James Peatling moved to the Crows saying, who? If you watch Giants games this year, in those few Giants games he played, he is a tackling machine. He is a heart and soul player. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He's a fantastic fighter, and he will be a fan favourite. He was a fan favourite at the Giants. He'll be a fan favourite at the Crows. For me, he's certainly into the 22. And look, he might not be on the level yet of McRae, Daniel, and Parker, but he is a great pickup for mine. A few other Crows lads. Alex Neil-Bullen has moved from Melbourne to Adelaide. I personally would compare him to a guy like Sam Switkowski at Fremantle, but he's got a bit more polish, a bit more goal craft. I love everything about Alex Neil-Bullen's game. One of the most underrated players in the comp. For me, that's a great pickup that brings Adelaide to a potential top 8 caliber. Yeah, what a pickup. He goes above Parker for me. Yeah, really rate Alex Neil-Bullen. And Isaac Cumming as well. In the prime of his career, playing some fantastic football. He's very injury prone, which is the risk. But again, it's another great pickup from Adelaide. I think they've had a really good trade period. Neil-Bullen, Cumming, and Peatling is a fantastic trio to add to your list. Now onto the Gold Coast boys. You've got Dan Rioli, John Noble, and Elliot Himmelberg. Let's start off with Daniel Rioli. I think there's going to be an influx at halfback, especially with also getting John Noble. Look, Dan Rioli is a good player, but for me, all he can go into is into the 22. And I've got to say the same for John Noble, because realistically, they've got some struggles all over the ground. I don't think halfback's one of them. They've got a guy right there like Lockie Weller, who plays in the exact same role as these two do, as that quarterback. And I'm not sure, look, they both get into the 22, 100%. I'm just not sure if they needed to overstock in these areas. Yes, it's interesting. I get Rioli and Noble both requested trades there, but it's almost sort of like they got forced into it just because, you know, they're good footballers. We'll find a way to get them in our 22. But, yeah, it's very interesting. And Elliot Himmelberg, I'm not going to lie, it's a bit of a, Righto, this is our third game changer, 100%. Shai Bolton, for me, goes... He could go at the top, you know. Look, I don't want to be biased. We all know I'm a Freo fan, and I get some biased comments. I get some comments sometimes saying I'm biased. I don't think I'm being biased if I put him at the top. I mean, not the greatest year last year, but he was still the leading goal kicker in a horrendous Richmond team. We know how good this guy is at his best. I think... Yeah, look, I don't feel bad putting him above Bailey Smith, because Bailey Smith missed a year of football. It's a bit of a question mark how good he will be. Shai Bolton is a game changer, and I think everyone in the footy world has been saying there is one piece missing for the Dockers, and that is an X factor, a small forward. We've got Sam Switkowski. He brings the pressure, doesn't have the goal craft required for a premiership team. Bailey Banfield, again, he's just got too many areas. He's a very, very classy player on his day, but he's just got too many holes in his game. I think Shai Bolton is that man that is the everything player. He can pick up some midfield clock. He's a high flyer. He brings X factor. He gets bums on seats and bums off seats. He is just everything you want in a small, electrifying forward. In the prime of his career, he's a 2-time premiership player. It's everything the Dockers need. If you ask me mid-year who would I rather, Shai Bolton or Chad Warner, I 110% would have said Shai Bolton. And look, if Chad stays at Sydney or if Chad goes to West Coast, so be it. Fantastic player, they can enjoy him. Shai Bolton's the guy I wanted to spend our money on, our picks on, and I'm so happy he's at the football club. Now let's move to Harry Sharp. Look, he's good depth, certainly, better than Darling. I do rate Harry Sharp. Melbourne are actually quite stocked up on the wings, and I don't know if he's a guaranteed starter in that team. He couldn't get into the Brisbane team much. In a very good Brisbane team, so be it. And Melbourne, well, look, they could be looking at the bottom 4 spot next year. But that being said, I think Harry Sharp will get some game time. Not straight into the 22 automatically, but a very young, promising, and good player. Let's move to Collingwood. Dan Houston. People are treating him like he's the second coming of Jesus. I don't think he's that. He's a very good player. I'll put him at bottom of game changer because, let's be real, he's a fantastic player. Plays that quarterback role for Port Adelaide. Played that quarterback role for Port Adelaide. Comes up in big, big moments. Evidently in that goal after the siren a couple years ago. Look, fantastic, fantastic player. He'll make Collingwood a better side. He'll make Collingwood a top 8 side once again, and who knows how far the Pies can get with Dan Houston. I don't think he's as good as people making him out to be. Look, he's North Australian, he's a very, very good player, but I think we should temper expectations. I think we saw with a guy like Lachie Schultz, and don't get me wrong, I think Houston's a better player than Schultz, but he very much so struggled to adapt into that big Collingwood environment in his first season, and the pressure got put on him by the fan base and by the outside media. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Houston adapts, but no doubt a fantastic footballer. And the final pickup was Harry Perryman from GWS. Great pickup for me. Better than Peatling, better than Parker. Cumming, to be honest, I rate Cumming more than Perryman. It's very close. Honestly, I always got confused between the two, I won't lie. We'll put him in great pickup. Very, very good player. He'll make Collingwood a better team. So, yeah, can't complain. 3 new power players. First up, Jack Lukosius. Certainly gets into the 22. He's a versatile player, a bit of a swing man. He's a very good, he's a great pickup. He is. He adds to already a fantastic Port list, but is this going to be the difference maker? Is this going to be the difference maker in Ken Hinkley finally making it past the prelim? I'm not sure. It's a great pickup. He probably goes above these lads, but at the end of the day, yeah. Here is Joe Richards, who for me is good depth, but he will turn into a very good player. Mark my words. He tore Fremantle to shreds earlier this season. In that draw at Optus Stadium. I really, really rate Joe Richards. I watched him closely this year because he was a part of my fantasy team, and I've got to say, I'm really impressed with what I saw. Collingwood would be gutted to let him go, and he could go on to have a really good career at Port. So good depth for now, but honestly, could be a game changer in future. And Rory Atkins, I mean, it is a bit of an arm. I don't know what they're doing with this one, but they've got Rory Atkins now. 3 new West Coast guys now, all from Victoria. Liam Baker, Jack Graham, and Matt Owies. Let's start off with Liam Baker. Great pickup. He goes just below McRae there. Look, I think West Coast have had a bit of a list identity crisis, certainly. Obviously, they've been terrible the past few years, but one problem with their list is they've either been super old or super young. That's been well documented. And I think Liam Baker is just that perfect middle-of-the-road age bracket guy that can really bring those two sides of the list together, and he'll definitely make West Coast a better footballing team. They won 5 games this year. I think they'll probably stay around that mark, but I think he will make them a more attractive footballing team to watch on a more consistent basis. Matt Owies, for me, is definitely into the 22. He probably goes below these guys. I rate Matt Owies. I would have taken him at Freo, if I'm being honest, because we lack that sort of spark. I'm not saying he'd be in Freo's best 22 every week, but I really like him as a depth player. He'll be in West Coast best 22 every week. He's a very, very good goal sneak, gets in the right positions. He scored 30 or so goals for Carlton this year. Yeah, I rate Owies. Not very likeable, but And he's even more unlikable now he plays for West Coast. But, look, I rate him. And Jack Graham is again into the 22. He goes just below Owies for me. Again, he's a bit like Baker. Not as good of a footballer as Baker, obviously, but he brings premiership experience to a team that's lacking premiership experience despite winning one only 6 years ago. He's that middle of the road age bracket guy where he can bring those two sides of the list together. And he's just a very, very important piece in that West Coast list, and a solid footballer as well. Nick Haynes, good depth. That is all he is. Yeah, he's good depth, Nick Haynes. Tom Campbell. And last, but certainly not least, Josh Battle. Look, he's a great pickup. He's definitely a great pickup. He goes above all these guys. I mean, St Kilda would be gutted to lose him, I think. I saw a few Saints fans not rating him, but I think they'd be gutted to lose him. He will make that Hawthorn defence stronger. I mean, him, Barras, Sicily, those three guys at the back could, as I said before, could maybe even push Sicily forward with the surgence of Josh Weddle. So, yeah, I think it's a really, really good pickup from Hawthorn. And overall, that is my trade period ranked. What it looks like is the worst trade was Tom Campbell. I'm sorry, Tom. It wasn't meant to be like that. And in the top tier, we've got Shai Bolton, Bailey Smith, Tom Barrass, Dan Houston. I'm pretty happy with that. They probably were the 4 best trades. And, yeah, overall, a trade period that was a bit lackluster, but, you know, some big moves for some clubs that could really change the outlook of the 2025 AFL season. Thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy, please hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. It would be massively appreciated. And I will see you all next time. Cheers.